Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, coming to you from SuiteRecording in beautiful Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And I'm here with my producer, Joe. And I got to tell you, Joe, I was driving over today, and Fat Bottom Girls from Queen came on. And I really love the drum work on that. It's just an amazing drum work. What's a song that you really dig the drum work on?
Coop, that is a toughie. The first thing that comes to mind is, one that you'd probably hear from a lot of people, but it's got to be Good Times, Bad Times. First track from Led Zeppelin off their first album, and you really, really hear just how good John Bonham is, and he changes drumming in 3 minutes, and it's just something to behold. And I love it every time I hear it.
All right, well, I love SuiteRecording. That's why I record my show here. Tell me a little more about SuiteRecording.
SuiteRecording is a podcast studio here in Mount Laurel where we love to work with brands and businesses and organizations to leverage the power of podcasting and YouTube and just video content in general in a myriad of different ways. And we can help you with everything from planning your content through to, of course, recording it, the production side of it, and publication as well. So we love to work with creatives, and we love to bring creative dreams to reality using video and audio. So if you'd like to learn more about SuiteRecording and what we do over here, then contact us anytime at hello@suiterecording.com or visit us on the web at suiterecording.com. That's spelled SUITE. Take it away, Coop.
All right. We have a great show today. It's funny. My first guest, I met him. He did an AI presentation at SuiteRecording the other night where I do the comedy show. The next one is August 22nd. And it's Ed Bordi from Realiiz. How you doing, Ed?
Hey, nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
And then we have a woman. She came to Cocktails with Cooper last month. And the next one, that is August 6th. See, I'm just promoting all my shit out front. And it's from Creative Content OnDemand. It's April Ward. How you doing, April?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. And finally, from WEButation. I love that name, WEButation. It's Lou Lesperance. What's up, Lou?
How's it going? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet everybody.
All right. All right. Well, Ed, tell us a little about what Realiiz is and what you do for them.
We're like a full service marketing company. What we do is we come alongside businesses and we help them grow their brand. So we figure out what their brand is. We dial in their messaging, and we make sure that they have the right visibility on the web and the traffic that they need, whether it's organic or paid traffic. And we just, like I said, we come alongside them and we help them grow their business. That's what businesses are in the business for, is to get customers, and we help them do more of that.
How about you, April? Tell us a little. You got the Emmys, you got the camera behind you. So let's tell us a little more about Creative Content on Demand.
Well, yeah, Creative Content on Demand started in 2008. We offer to our small businesses and mid-sized businesses our services, which is focused on video, photography, social media management, and public relations. And the nice caveat for us, for the media marketing company that we do, for the small businesses, is that we offer it in subscription-based and also one-offs. So there's some times where we do some videos and then it just sits there for some customers, but we realized in the past that just didn't work. And so we try to help them create more content and let it live longer so they can help them share their story.
Okay. And how about Lou? Tell us a little about WEButation.
Yeah, so I recently started there about 3 months ago. Absolutely love it. It's we do social media investigations on the internet. So we're essentially PIs, but on the internet side. So when someone files a workers' comp or disability claim, we help fight insurance fraud. So we go out and find information to fight those false claims out on the internet. We put reports together, give them back to the employer, the third-party administrator, the insurance company, so they then have some groundwork to stand on to fight their case.
Okay. It always fascinates me how stupid people are. Like, I watch that show, American Greed, and these people will sit there and they have a claim. Then they show themselves skiing. And it's like, it's just crazy. It's like, makes no sense. So, April, how did you end up working tell me the story of how your company started.
Okay, so my husband and I started, we met in media. We're working for a local television station. And we kind of worked had clients on the side. And so we created that in 2008 and had video clients. And then the more and more we were working in our own jobs, we said, let's build our own business. And so we wanted to share and give the mom and pops some opportunities to have their own commercials professionally made. My husband, he's worked in news for 30 years. I do it in the production side of it. Whereas like, getting the guests, getting the clients, getting to where they are, pre-production. And James, he does the video production part and gets them to look great, like the editing. So we're kind of hands-on with our clients, where we went full-time about 3 years ago. And really actually before the pandemic. We didn't realize that, we realized that the companies needed that presence online. But when the pandemic hit, a lot of our clients were end up being food services, and they didn't realize that they needed that presence online. So we've created, we upped their social media presence with video, with just helping them stay consistent during that time. And now it's actually built where we found that model of subscription based, that it continued to, flourish. And we're able to apply what we learned during the pandemic, even more so, and put that there. But we've created also award-winning documentaries. That's what you see in the back. These are Telly Awards, and I got 1 Emmy back there. My husband and I, we like to share the stories in the community. So we celebrated a 100th anniversary for the Helping Hand Fire Department. That is for a all Black volunteer fire company in Deptford. And we didn't know about that. And they were celebrating their 100 years. So we ended up getting a silver for that. But really one of the pivotal videos that we did was for the Washington Township Fire Department. They could not get into the schools during the pandemic, because they needed their presentation to still be there for fire prevention. We put that on video, and that worked. And they still use that piece of material throughout the country, because there's other fire departments that say, hey, we want to use this. So we know that we're touching and making an impact worldwide, and saving lives.
That's what counts. That's what counts.
Yeah.
Those are the awards. The last award I won on a cruise. I won Harriest Chest Award, and it wasn't a good thing. Lou, you're new to your job. Tell me the path, your background, and how you got to WEButation.
Yeah, so I in college, I kind of knew I always wanted to get into sales, and I graduated Rutgers on a Wednesday, started selling copiers on a Monday, full commission job, and you kind of determine in a short period of time whether sales is for you or not when you have that kind of structure. Learned a lot there, then ended up going into pharmaceutical and medical sales for 20 plus years. Then had an opportunity to work with a tech startup over here based out of Westchester that had to deal with social media and essentially develop their sales processes, their onboarding, their marketing, some of their marketing ideas, presentations, those types of things. And man, I can tell you, I absolutely loved it. Then had an opportunity to work with another tech startup here recently. And the neat part about this is my CEO, Mike Petrie's second go around. So he actually invented or pioneered social media intelligence reports some 20 years ago, built up a business, sold it to actually the company he used to work for, which is pretty cool. And now this is his second go around. So I'm kind of doing the same thing all over again, building out the processes, the presentations, marketing materials. I'm going to be eventually hiring the sales reps. Absolutely love it. Can't tell you how much I enjoy it. It's fun.
Awesome. How about you? Tell us about your path to Realiiz.
So, I graduated college with a computer science degree. I was like a hardcore software developer ever out of college. Worked for Computer Associates, they're a software vendor. They built mainframe software and PC software and everything in between. And I just that's the path that my career took for a really long time. I ended up doing some cool things. I worked at Computer Associates. I worked at a startup. I built at the startup a financial risk management platform for the World Bank. I was the third person hired at a startup. It was a big contract. They funded this development effort. And then I worked at Verizon, where I did work for them, and Yahoo, and big companies for most of my career. And while at Verizon, a lot of the people that I was working with were getting an executive master's degree from University of Pennsylvania, which was right around the corner from where I was stationed here in Pennsylvania. So it was an executive master's called it's like a techno MBA. So it was part technology and a part MBA, sponsored by the School of Engineering in Wharton. So I ended up getting all those studies and discovered that I'm not just a software guy, that I loved marketing. So I fell in love with it, actually. So while working at Verizon, this was 2001. I started a side business, taking one customer a year. I would handpick somebody that I thought I could help. And I did that for close to 20 years, just a side business in marketing. In 2019, I was making, twice what I was making with my day job and my side gig. So I decided to, quit my job and go full time. Along the way, I became, not just I studied marketing, but I have 20 plus years. I saw Google, when Google started, I was the first guy running ads on Google, doing SEO on Google. So I've seen the technology over the years from where it started to where it is today. And I take all of that knowledge. So I have the technology background, the software, the technology, I've got marketing, and I had to learn to sell, otherwise I would have no customers. So I became a pretty good salesman along the way as well. And that's kind of where I am today. The reason I am here today, though, is I could have stayed at my job. I really just wanted to start something that I could hand. I have two 20-something boys. I have a 25-year-old and a 29-year-old. The goal was to build this business, mentor them, leave it to them, so that I could retire at some point in the relatively near future. We'll see.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, you all seem to like your jobs. We always talk about liking your jobs, and I wear many hats. And when I do comedy, one of the reasons I love comedy, and I really love it, is because people come in there having a crappy day or a crappy week, and you make them laugh. So that's one thing I really like. Lou, what's one thing that you really like about your new job? What's one thing?
No, I just think, and I think, Ed touched on this, like when you're in sales, it's cool to learn about. I get to learn about new people and their challenges every day. And I get to determine whether my product is a fit or not. And when it is, it's awesome to be helpful and fix their challenges. And when it's not, maybe there's another way that you can either help them out or refer them out to someone else. So I just think being in sales it's very rewarding on multiple levels, especially when you're in a position in management where you have maybe some younger folks that are a little green, and you get to teach them some of the things that you've learned. Try to help them not necessarily do the things wrong, or teach them different things that you've learned, being in the career for so long and seeing them be successful. That I just love that.
Okay. How about you, Ed? What do you really like about your job?
So I probably would have answered this different long time ago, but what I've discovered is something very similar to what I just heard Lou said is uh, I, I've seen that I was able to help somebody, actually help them, and I made a major difference in their life, whether it was mentoring some young person who just needed some good advice and some direction, or take a business that was struggling and turn them into somebody who was maybe profitable, and and I discovered that, wow, that really feels good. I enjoy helping people and seeing them have some success. And along the way, they weren't transactions anymore. It wasn't a business that turned into some money exchange hands. It turned into, I really like my customers. We ended up becoming friends, like lifelong friends, and then later on, in some cases, partners in some endeavors that we went through. So I think just the experience that you have and the relationships that you build, that I've been able to build through my business.
Okay. How about you, April? What do you like?
Oh, what I like is that the business design that we have is we help small to mid-sized businesses grow. And when we come alongside the businesses that we have here locally, we like to help them just with the in-house marketing, being that in-house marketing company for them. And we provide the video. And I think when we tell the story and seeing the results of it, helping them make money, that's like, I guess that's the rewarding part. And then also having that special model that gives them the leverage to compete with bigger companies, and just having the quality. And I think just to know their background, just as similar as the gentlemen's were saying today, just to know the background, getting close with them, and they feel like family. Because what we do is like, we get to know them, but then we feel like part of that company as well. Because we learn the message, we learn how they talk, and to do that, we think of what other opportunities that we can, dive into. Is it podcasts? Is it a certain series, or just other promos? The promos that we have, just tells them about them. So, and also just like working with my husband and the control. And some people say, hey, you work with your husband? I said, yeah. And the thing is, it's like, it's a great balance that we have with our family, but then even at work, some people, new clients who don't really know us, they say, oh wow, you guys are married? We're like, yeah. And so, it's not your typical married couple that work together on a shoot, or we just know how to work around. If
Okay.
you talk to my husband, he probably like, is she telling the truth? Not just kidding.
Exactly. Okay. So you all said, you all like your jobs. That's good. And that's everything. And we're in the thing where you want to be positive. But let's be honest, when you go on LinkedIn, people are always like, hashtag love my job. Bullshit. Come on. We love our job. But okay, we'll stay with you, April. What's something you don't like about your job? Because everything can't be 100%. There's got to be something. What's something you don't like about your job?
Well, I guess just being the entrepreneur, like I would say the worries of entrepreneurship. Because when you're working for corporate, you have the insurance, you have all the things like the security on that way. Where we're small businesses, we have the insurance, we have all that, but it's still kind of going with the clientele. Like, are they going to be paying on time? Just having the management of that. And that's just different, from working in corporate.
Okay. How about you, Ed? What's something you don't like about your job?
So that's a great question. And partly what I just heard she said is, when I started my own business, I told myself and I told my wife, I said, are you ready to potentially lose everything and fail miserably and, burn? If we're not willing to do that, then let's not do this at all, because it was both the scariest and the most exciting thing I ever did in my entire life, all wrapped up into one thing. So the scary, hard part that I don't like is the unknown. I don't. When you have a job, that paycheck comes. Every time, and usually there's an end of the year bonus or a middle of the year bonus, and there's all the comforts and the security. You have to make your own security as a business owner, and even though there's a thrill and there's an excitement to that, that is. If you're not comfortable with being uncomfortable, having your own business, then then you probably shouldn't be in business. So even though I'm comfortable with it, and there's a part of it that's a thrill, that is probably one of the hardest things about being in a business. That if I didn't have to have that, I'd be okay with not having that. But it's just part of being a business owner.
Okay, how about you, Lou? I mean, you're new, but I mean, you're in sales. Is there anything you don't like a job, or in your past jobs, or something you haven't liked?
Well, I would just say I think it's time management. Like it's tough. There's never enough hours in the day, especially when you're launching a company, because it's always there. And working from home, your computer's always there and everything else is always there. So it's always tough. Right now it's myself and the CEO, and we have two analysts. So you have to put on a lot of hats. You got to do a lot of different things, which isn't really a negative for me. I kind of embrace it. I like it. I like learning things. But I think the time management piece is always the tough piece, because there's always, I look at my notebook. I'm a big checklist person, and I just see how many things that we need to get done. And you have to prioritize those things. I'm a big subscriber to a highly effective calendar and non-negotiables. So I try to put everything in order. So I make sure I get the things that I have to get done. I get those done. And if I need to move things around, I do. But it's the time management piece is probably the hardest part, I would say.
Okay. Now, Ed, we're going to ask you this because you seem like you've been working all your whole life, and and as we get older, we work and we work and we work. But at this point in your life, what motivates you? What
Oh,
motivate? What's that fire that keeps you going? What motivates you?
that's an easy one. And it's an important thing that we all find that. And it's hard to, sometimes we all think we know what motivates us, but we learn over time that, oh, what really motivates me is something else. Um, I, I right now have a goal. I just got my dual citizenship. So I'm now an Italian citizen. We picked up my passports about a month or two ago, and I'm a US citizen. And we're looking to open an office in Italy. And I want to get there as quickly as possible and hand this business off to my sons. So I'm working really hard with my business. What motivates me with my business is I want to achieve those goals so that I can, I want to sit on my back patio, look over a garden and a pool and have my puppy dogs running through the yard. And I don't want to have these struggles, of a business, which is just normal, but I'm looking forward to that one day. So I'm working really hard right now to get to that.
Okay, Lou, what motivates you?
Yeah, I kind of like that, Ed. It's, I mean, I'm getting older. I'm not getting any younger, but like like I can start to see the end, which is kind of cool for me. Like when you're in the tech startup space, anything can happen. If you hit the home run, that I feel like you just got years back of your life. If I was working in, where I was prior in corporate America, I'm set, here's when I'm going to be able to retire. I feel like when you're in a tech startup and if you make it, I just gained years,
Yeah.
which really motivates me. And I got a family, I got 2 kids. I really, you work hard for them. You want to, provide for them. They'll be going to college soon. And my big thing with them is when they graduate, I want you to do a bucket list item. Pick something cool because that's going to be the time to do it. So I'm, saving my money for that. And then I want each of them to open up their own business. And I don't care if they fall flat on their face. I just think the lessons they'll learn in that 3 to 6 month period will be invaluable for them.
Okay. How about you, April? What motivates you?
Well, what motivates me is legacy and time, and making sure, as Ed has even said, about just having an opportunity for my kids to grow this business. And even if they don't want to be part of this business, we want to just show them how effective we can be as entrepreneurs, and just being a good example. And time, I mean, this is how everybody is mentioning time is being intentional with it. I think being an entrepreneur, I'm able to set boundaries, control it in a way of with my clients, but time can go by so quickly. And I think if we put a lot of time into one area and forget about how precious time with our children are, or with our husband or family, I can get lost. And so I think time is my motivation, is to making sure, like, okay, we got this project, let's go. And where can we say no to the boundaries for family time? So legacy and family.
Okay. So I'm going to meet a friend of mine in Asbury Park next week. Guy I went to college with. I was a senior. I was a freshman. He was a senior. I want to go to Asbury Park because I've never been there. I live in Jersey. I want to see that face on the Stone Pony Rub. That face, the smiling face. I saw an episode of The Sopranos it was on, and he played a good role in my life. He's the reason why I ended up getting on stage. So, we all have people through our lives that play a certain role. April, looking back, who's someone who's played a very important role for you to become the person you are today?
Well, I would say my mom. She had recently passed, like in May. But when I sit back and think about media and who put that foundation, I always say my mom. She immigrated here into Philippines in 1969, but she was our family photographer, our documentary, our archivist. I mean, if you can go to my parents' house right now, you'll see in the basement those big photo albums, all of them. each family member has one. Printed photos, April, Faye, my dad. And I took that and took it to the next level. My dad, he was also loves video cameras. So my parents, they instilled that in the beginning, unknowingly, we just loved technology. And if you know Filipinos, there's karaoke, and my dad had from the tapes, the laser disc, everything up, and the microphone. If you know, I see you smiling, Steve, you might understand the karaoke technology. And so, but that kind of is interesting because I didn't never realize I was gonna marry someone who is into media as well. And so we just kind of upgraded, with the video cameras back here, and telling stories. And so that my mom just helped me tell stories through photography. And if you see all my photos, if you follow me on LinkedIn or even on social media, you'll see those are my photo albums. I'm not bragging. Those are just the way I document stuff. So yeah, my mom.
Okay, it's funny. It's the Filipinos. When I lived in Vegas, I lived in Vegas for a year years ago, and I worked with two Filipinos, and we went to their house for a party. And oh my God, I was blown away how the food was so good. I was like, oh, it was basic, but I was like, holy shit, this stuff's amazing. It's like God. So Lou,
Were you dancing all night? Were you dancing all night?
I didn't dance. I was married to a miserable person at the time. So I just wanted to get out of the house. There's no energy left to dance. Lou, someone who's played a very important role into who you are now.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say my parents. Grew up in my dad's blue collar worker, was able to, pay for my college, which is huge. And my mom was a teacher's aide, and looking back on it, I mean, we had a pretty good life growing up in South Jersey. Like I know that's a whole nother discussion topic. Is there South Jersey, Central Jersey, North Jersey? But I think there's South Jersey and North Jersey, but that's just me. But I grew up right next to the Delaware Morrill Bridge. There's not a little town called Pennsville. And when people say, "Oh, I know Pennsville," I always ask them why, because you don't really go there. But yeah, it's really cool to see, growing up in a small town, and you got two parents that are a blue collar worker and a teacher's aide, and they did the right thing with their money. They never overspent. I think that's one of the most important things I've ever learned, was to live within your means. If you make 10, you can't spend 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's math. It's basic math. So definitely my parents for sure.
Okay, how about you, Ed?
I got to say my parents now. Everybody else said their parents, but I was going to say it anyway. So my mom was she was just an entrepreneur. She was my mom, she's passed now, but I remember going over to her house. She's 70 years old, up on the roof, fixing some shingles. She wasn't going to call it a roofer. She was going to do it herself. She just was a hard worker and energetic, just a strong personality. And she always inspired me and encouraged me to just go after whatever I wanted to do. Just, if you want to do it, you just got to go do it. So she really encouraged me to just go after my dreams, do it. And she did it by example. I watched her do it. She was 60 years old and she started a business from scratch, and she became successful as an interior decorator, well known in throughout New Jersey and Pennsylvania. For my dad, the lessons that he taught me was, my dad was one of those guys that literally nothing fazed him. The world could be crumbling around you, and he was just even keeled. And he, hey, if you can't fix it, and you don't worry about it. Okay, what's within your control, do whatever you can to make it right. And if you can't, you don't worry about it. So that even keeled temperament that he had, really, I think I might have got his DNA, because I just have that just naturally, I feel like. But those are two great things in business: just a hard worker, and knowing that you can stay even, especially as a business owner, because you can have these, all through your business. It's really hard. One other thing that I have to add, my wrestling coach. I was a high school wrestler, something I did a lot of, and I loved wrestling in high school. And my coach was just amazing. He's passed now too, but having that experience in wrestling taught me teamwork, dedication, integrity, all the things that you take from a sport. And I carried them through all the successes I had in my entire life. So my parents taught me just all the foundational things, but that coach and that team I've talked to somebody recently who was a wrestler from a different high school, and I think it's all sports really. Just if you have that in you to just play a sport and you've learned the lessons, it's not just the winning on the field, it's all the things, the character that you learn and that you take with you through your life. So those are the three people that I would probably say that I would give most of my gratitude to for.
Okay. Now this next question you can answer either professional or personal. It doesn't make a difference. And we'll start with you, Lou. What's an accomplishment you've had in the last few years that you're really proud of? And it can be personal or it can be professional. It's up to you. But in the last few years, what's something that you look back and you really makes you proud?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm gonna go from a professional standpoint. Actually, no, I'm gonna go personal. I'm gonna go back to COVID. So you said we're allowed to curse a little bit here. So
Yeah, it's fine.
During COVID, everybody was kind of down in the dumps. So I know like my kids, their friends, the parents, and I sat down with my kids and I said, I'm like, I don't know if I made the word up or what, but I think I did, but maybe I didn't. I was like, FITFO, let's figure it the fuck out, right? Let's figure it out. You kind of have an opportunity right now that you're never going to have again in your life, where you can pick something and get really good at it. But I don't know what it is. I was working for LabCorp at the time, so my job didn't shut down. We launched the first COVID test, so I was as busy as any job as I've ever been in my life, 24/7. But my son said golf and my daughter said art, and I was like, well, tell me what you need. And we went out and got those things, and my son turned into a pretty good golfer, and my daughter's a pretty good artist. And I think it's similar to what you said, Ed. There's things you can control, and then there's the uncontrollables. The uncontrollables were what was going on with COVID, but you could take that opportunity and really build it into something cool. Meanwhile, I heard other parents say, well, my kid's going to have social anxiety, my kid's going to have this, and I was like, well, don't let that happen. Give them an opportunity to do something special, do something cool.
Okay. How about you, Ed? What's something that you've accomplishment in the last few years, personal or professional, that you're very proud of?
Well, I didn't get a chance to think about it because I was enjoying Lou's story so much. Lou, I love that. I think it's great. So I'm really proud of my family, my wife and my kids. I'll mention that. So very, very briefly, my wife's had a chronic illness for more than 20 years, bedridden for most of that time. And I'm proud of her, and I'm proud of my family, because despite the hardest times that you could ever think you might have to face in life, we wake up with a smile every day, where we find a reason to be happy, despite troubles. So I'm really proud of my wife, and I'm proud of the way that my kids rally around her, and the way that our family unit has been able to just withstand tough times. And in the middle of that, I decided to start a business. So and I think maybe personally and professionally is the fact that I had that comfortable, cushy, job that I didn't have to give up. But I did. And so I feel like I am proud of myself to do something that I wanted to do that was very scary. I put everything at risk. I put my house, I had a mortgage and all these things, and I put all of that at risk to try something. So, I'm proud that I tried it, because it ended up working out. It didn't have to, because not every business works out. No matter how smart you are, no matter how good you think you are, things happen. So I am glad that I did it. I really don't like to say I'm proud of myself. It's something I typically don't say. I like to say I'm proud of other people. But if I had to pick something, that would be the few things that I would pick.
I don't like to say I'm proud of myself. No, on LinkedIn, everyone says they're proud of themselves. They'll tell you. They'll say, hey, look at me. I'm the best fucking thing in the world. That's LinkedIn. But most people are humbled. April, something you're proud of, professional or personal, which is funny because you and your husband work together. So this is going to be an interesting answer.
Well, yeah.
So give me one or two.
Yeah, it's more like, I think the personal one is the family. I got my daughter to the finish line to graduate high school. And the proud moment right there with me and my husband just encouraging her. I'm on the school board for my town, and I was able to hand her diploma. So it was like a full circle kind of thing, like volunteering for the community and then giving her diploma. And I think just for me and James, professionally, because it is personal and professional all together, sometimes you just never think that people are watching you because we're always behind the scenes. And we got awarded best power couple, I guess, from the NAACP, and then another organization honored us. So I think for us, we're just like, oh wow, you're recognizing what we do in the community. But when we, as you say, people boast about themselves on LinkedIn, and I guess for us, we're like, okay, we'll put it out there, but it's like, wow, like it's kind of one of those things, like it's a nice, shocking, but rewarding because we know that we are making impacts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's awesome, and congratulations on that one. That is very cool because and I say I'm friends with you. I'm on LinkedIn with you, and you don't boast about yourself. I don't see that, but that's the thing I don't know. Even look all those awards behind her, she's not boasting. Most people would be sitting there. Most people on LinkedIn would have a hat with the award sticking off and like,
Oh.
look at me. That's what they'd be doing.
But
So,
that setup back there is my husband. So he's in the behind the scenes right now. So he set that all up.
all
So.
right, that's good. That's perfect. That looks good, man. It makes me look like I'm important. I have important people on my show. Okay. Well, Ed, you said you're proud of yourself. Okay, we're going to take it a little further. I told the story a while ago. I was having coffee with someone, and they said, you have credibility. And then people believe that. Like people always say, people tell stories. I didn't tell anyone about my background when I first moved back here. But everyone's like, oh my God, they saw me perform at a show. And they go, you really did do comedy. And then someone saw me on an episode of Superstore. They sent me a clip. They go, hey, Coop, we just saw you on TV. So I said, you're credible. You're not full of shit. Ed, what is a characteristic about you that you are proud of? We already know that your family comes from, but what's something about you that you are very glad you have the characteristic? Because we all have different characteristics. Some people aren't funny. I'm not linear. But what's a characteristic that you find that you're like, damn, I'm glad I have this?
Characteristic.
Or
So
a trait, personality trait.
So I think, and this is something that I've had people tell me is, so in 2022, I took a year and I was helping a local company grow the revenue, and I actually had quite a sizable team there and some salespeople, and sales is a tough job, right? So there's days where you're on the top, top of the world. You just made a sale, and then you go through a dry spell where you don't make any sales for a long time. You start doubting yourselves, and or maybe you have you make a sale and you have customers that are complaining or whatever it may be. And my sales team would come to me with, their ups and their downs and their problems, their customer issues, and we would just attack them. So, okay, so what's the issue? So we deal with it. We deal with one thing at a time. We figure out what the problem is. We solve it. Okay. It's kind of like what I was talking about, that trait that I took from my father, just to take things as it comes, not get too worked up. So I try to, I don't ride the highs, and I don't ride the lows. I just stay right here all the time. If I make a sale, I'm not high-fiving everybody in town. Okay, now I got to go back to work and make another sale. If things are tough, I do whatever I can to solve that problem and get back where I need to be. So I think it would say just being able to, the trait would be being a problem solver and not getting too emotional about the highs and lows of life and business.
Okay.
It's a skill that I have and a trait that I've been able to share with people around me as well.
Okay. How about you, April?
Well, that I am reliable, dedicated, with my clients, even with my family, and I say reliable. So I would say that because people trust us, trustworthy in regards with my family, my parents. When my mom was sick, I was there with my dad, helping him out, because he was the main caregiver for my mom. I'm still helping him out, just in the ways of making sure that that everything's taken care of. So when I'm with clients and with family, I'm always aware and reliable in that way, and just looking out. And I'm always have my camera, so I'm always ready to tell the story. And even when my clients aren't, they're thinking about their business, we're helping them tell their story. And if I'm in their presence, I'm always taking behind the scenes. So you'll see all that. But I'm always telling a story and helping that client to really feel comfortable, and even with my family. So
Okay.
reliable.
Okay. How about you, Lou?
Yeah, I would just say like giving back. You know, whether it's professionally or personally, I do it with, you know, business coaching, like help people out like whenever I can. I love mentoring people. I do it with golf. I'm a big golfer. And I kind of, you know, coming from Pennsville, it's not a big golf area, but started playing a lot of golf and played in high school, played in college, and I wasn't the best player on the team, but I always loved watching people swing. And I just developed a knack for watching people, and I love going out golfing and helping people with their game. I've learned a lot about the game. You can show somebody something so little, and then you know, just to see them do it and the satisfaction they get, and they're like, that was awesome. I love helping people and seeing them be successful. Same thing in sales. When you're a sales manager, you give somebody some tips and they try it and they're like, I would have never done this, but I did it and it worked, and you see them be successful. It's just a great feeling.
Pennsville. I think one of my comedy mentors, Rich Scheidner. I think he's from Pennsville.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rich is a very good friend. That's whenever I think Pennsville. Whenever he comes in town, I drive down there. We meet for pizza at this place. This cool Italian restaurant, but no one's ever in it. And I'm like, I meet him at 12. I'm like, this sucks because the pizza's so good. So, okay, so we're in business. We're all in business, and business has changed. You know, we rely on people more. We network. Things like that. A lot of times we work on referrals. Okay. And we give referrals. And that's a sign of trust. Okay. Like if a referral goes bad, you look like the asshole. You know, they're upset with you, but you get the call going, Coop, you know, you told me this person's good. It's a shit show. That being said, we'll start with you, Ed. What does we talked about a characteristic that you like, you're liking yourself. What are some characteristics or business practices someone has to have for you to trust them to refer them?
So I wouldn't ever refer somebody that I haven't personally used their services. I need to know for a fact that I've used them. I would use them again. I would refer them to my mom, to my brother, to my sister. You know, I would refer them to my own family. If I have that level of knowledge and that level of experience with somebody, then otherwise I won't refer them at all. Like I won't refer somebody that I haven't personally used and that I would refer to my own family. And then typically the qualities are, they have to do what they say. They have to show up. They have to do the right thing. It has to be really good quality, like the quality that I would do myself. Honest, great communicators, you know, all the things that you want from somebody that you're buying services from. And I need to have had experienced that myself. That's the only time. Otherwise, I'll say, I don't have a referral for you. I won't refer somebody that I know that maybe I just met. Seems like a great guy, but you know, maybe he doesn't do a great job in his business. Typically that's the way I handle that situation.
Okay, how about you, Lou? Because you're out there a lot. You know a lot of people.
Yeah, I think I mean, I like doing business and working with people that listen well. I think, especially in sales, you get so many people that, you know, want to talk about themselves or their product. Like real good sales reps listen a lot. They, you know, they ask a lot of questions. You know, there's, you know, you hear these terms in sales a lot. There's surface pain and then there's true pain. So the only way to find out what people's true challenges are to really listen to them and continue to ask them questions. A good friend of mine, he's a lawyer. When he's fascinated by sales, because you know he's a lawyer. He's like, I can't. It's wild what you do. And he made this analogy that just sticks with me, and I use it when I help train people. It's a dating analogy. It's like if you go out on a date and you talk about yourself the whole time, there's no second date. If you go out on a date and you ask a bunch of questions, they're going to want to know more. The same thing is true in business, especially in networking. Go out and ask about them. Laws of reciprocation. They're going to then turn back and be like, well, Ed or April, what do you do? Tell me a little bit about you. This has been all about me. And I just think I love working with people that are good listeners.
Okay.
Yep.
How about you, April? Who are you referring? What do they have?
Well, like a lot of everybody has said, communication. If they're good communicators, and meaning that, hey, I'm going to refer you, if even if I worked with you before or haven't, just maybe networking with you, and they have a certain business or a service that I don't, offer, I always say, oh, well, this person has done something on web. You may want to check them out. I've only worked with them, and I'll give when I refer, I'll give them, hey, my preference of my background with them and pass that information along. And even if I worked with them before, I definitely would, if I had a great experience, refer them and leave them a review, because we understand that testimonials help small businesses and making sure that we get the word out. I noticed that with my clients that when they do testimonials, it's their customers that really do it organically in the comment section, emails, and that we use that to just drive that feeling of, trustworthiness. And so if I feel that that person is trustworthy, then I will pass that information. But it is great to being in those networking circles, having a variety, and then also recurring. It's like even when I went to your cocktails with Coop, I hadn't had a chance to go, and it was great. It was just a different audience, and somewhere where I go with the chamber, it's just different, and it's a good variety.
Okay. So this next one's a two-parter. Two-parter, people. Two-parter. I'm going to start with you, April.
Okay.
And be honest. To you, one, what is success? And two, what is happiness? Because I don't think they're the same. People can be successful and not be happy. But what's success and what's happiness to you?
What's success and what's happiness to me? I guess success would be, hey, I'm still married, 18 years and going, and we've decided to create a business. Success would be have more clients, and seeing where the long run is and building it to have maybe our own building. Happiness is I get to be here. I get to wake up. I get to have another day with my family, but then also get to enjoy the success. Some people can have the success and have all this money and still be sad. And I'm trying not to be that. And that's not a goal. And I try to encourage that with my kids. My son, he does acting. My daughter is going to college. I want to make sure that they're happy and that they're successful and understanding the material and enjoying school, whatever. So
Okay.
hopefully that answers everything.
Yeah. How about you, Ed? Success, happiness.
So I guess my definition of success changed over the years. When I'm younger in my career, I wanted to get a job. I wanted to climb the corporate ladder. I wanted to be the CEO of the company. I wanted to make a lot of money. And I've had some success that way in my career, and it, really didn't make me incredibly happy. I was enjoying my life. I remember a few years ago, 10 years ago, probably, I was sitting in my backyard. I had my family around, and I was just like, I don't need to chase anything else. Like, I'm literally just happy. I've got my family around me. I have all the people I love. And that was really what I wanted. So the goal of what you want to achieve. So success is achieving some goal. My goal has changed throughout the years. So my main goal was, money, a job, all those things. Now my goal is just to enjoy life. That's just the journey, really. And then so the happiness part is I figured out that despite, kind of what I was talking about through some of the older questions, there's lots of chaos and ups and downs in life. So my goal has evolved from wanting this thing and that thing, or, to achieve that thing or this thing, to just I need to enjoy life. I need to take it as it comes, enjoy today, this very moment. So happiness is realizing that, figuring that out as soon as possible, and then being able to put a smile on your face every day, despite what's happening around you. So that's happiness, and that's what I kind of figured out kind of late in life. But that's the way I would describe success versus happiness.
Okay. How about you, Lou?
So I don't know. I guess I kind of I got success. I just wrote a couple notes down that, like, because you got me thinking. I got like success in a business bucket and happiness in a personal bucket. I think success doesn't bring happiness, but I think happiness can lead to success. I think like if you're a like Ed was saying, if you're just happy, like a good just a good person, and you wake up every day and you're just kind of like, I think when you wake up, you say you determine what kind of day you're going to have. If you wake up negative, when any situation that you're in can go this way or that way, you determine that. So you wake up happy and somebody says, you know what, Coop, I don't like you. You can be like, man, that stinks. I hate to hear that, but maybe you should meet my buddy Ed. Maybe you'll like him. Or you could be like, you know what? Well, I don't like you either. And you get into an argument. Like, you can always handle every situation that way. I think living within your means really lends to happiness. I think, just be yourself. Don't always be so worried about everybody else, what they think of you, because human nature is people love judging people for whatever reason. It doesn't matter and the more successful you are, the more people want to judge you. And to me, that's a little sense of insecurity for themselves. I just think life is pretty simple, and we love complicating the heck out of it. Just surround yourself with good people, live within your means, and, have a good time.
Okay. So this next question, there is no wrong or right answer. You may not agree with me. You may agree with me, but it's about LinkedIn. Okay, we're all on LinkedIn. You have to be. And I personally don't feel LinkedIn is a place for politics or religion, unless you're clergy. Okay, I don't, and that's just my thing. I'm not a religious person. My wife is. I don't go to church. She does. Politics, I don't think there's a place, because politics cause too much animosity. And you go on Twitter, Twitter is just awful. But that's me. I don't think politics or religion should be on LinkedIn. But everyone has a different opinion. Lou, what do you think? Because we're all active on social media. And social media, Facebook is different than LinkedIn. But what's your thought about politics and religion on LinkedIn?
So the job I had prior to this, where, when I met you, Coop, we really talked about people's personal brand and what that means. The way I look at things like, politics and religion, especially when you're a business owner or a sales rep for that matter, if you bring anything up that is very controversial, you're kind of alienating 50% or more of your audience, because you're going to have people that agree with you, but you're going to also have a whole lot of people that don't agree with you. So I just don't see what the benefit of it is, Coop. I don't see where you're ever going to post something and it's going to turn to positive, because a lot of times it's the negative people that are very vocal with things like that on social media. So I agree with you 100%. Just stay away from it, unless, like you said, unless that's the vertical you're in and it makes sense. But I just don't see why anybody would post those types of things.
How about you, Ed?
So I personally don't talk politics or religion in social media or in settings, unless it's a personal setting and you have like a long form type of conversation where you can really get to know somebody and their opinions, and it can be thoughtful and considerate. I don't think it's wrong. I think, like what Lou was saying, there may be a circumstance where being polarizing with your viewpoints on social media is what you need to do to attract the right people to your business and repel everybody else. So there is a case for it. It's just not the thing that I do, but I don't think it's right or wrong. It really depends. Elon Musk says whatever he wants. It doesn't matter. People love him for it. There's a lot of people that hate him too, but he happens to be the richest man in the world, so something's working for him. So that's my thought.
Okay. How about you, April?
Well, I agree with Lou that it can alienate people if you put, politics, your views on the politics, or even religion. But see, it's kind of interesting with me. I was a volunteer. We ran the media team for a church. So you'll probably see some stuff that I've done, but it wouldn't be like, everybody got to be Christian too. Everybody got to be Catholic. No, for me, it's just like, this is what we done as a family. Cause my mom, I grew up Catholic. So we did like the novena prayer. That's the stuff that I share on personal, but on the business side, we treat it like we're journalists. We always do both sides. We've worked with politicians who share their stories. I'm involved in the community, so I understand that you can't really push your views on anybody because you are going to alienate a certain group. And I have to tell you, I'm friends with some people that I'm like, I'm going to unfollow, or I'm just going to snooze, but still be friends with them. You're like, ooh, I don't
It's
want to see that,
yeah, it's unfollow season right now. I
I
swear to
think
God,
so. And
it is. It's like I go, oh my God. So here's a question I brought in a few months ago, and I'll preface it by saying I don't read business books. Well, I'm listening to one now. An actor has a book, Matthew Del Negro. It's called 10,000 No's, and I only bought that book on audio because he did my other podcast, Cooper Talk. If you don't know Matthew, he was on The Sopranos. He was cousin Brian. He's been in a bunch of stuff, and it's about his career and getting no's. And I'm listening to it on the treadmill, and it's really good. But I really don't listen to business books, but a lot of people do. April, do you listen to business books or read business books? And if so, give me one that has made an impact on you.
Oh man, it's been a while. I think I just more of the news in general. I'm not a book reader. I'm not a big book reader. So in general, I'll like read the takeaways of anything. My husband's the book reader. He's like, we need to do more sales stuff. So we will jump in and doing some sales books. But I'm more of a listening. So right now I don't have anything right now, but more of the 7 Habits, I think back in the day. And then what was that? Purpose Driven Life. That was more of in the Christian aspect, but that also helped me in regards to having a successful marriage, but just also relationships with others. Those are ones in the past.
Okay,
So
that's fair enough. Yeah, as I said, I don't read them either. Ed, you one of those business book guys?
I was more than I am now. I've read cover to cover hundreds of books. Some of the books I've read 2 or 3 or 4 times.
What's one
Those
that's
are
made an
business.
impact?
So those were mostly like marketing and sales and types of books because I was trying to grow a business. I can't really pick one book because what happened is I've read hundreds of books and I'll take this idea from this book or this idea from this book. It's a collection of maybe I read this entire book, 300 pages, but I only like this one idea. And that's the one that I carry with me and I share with people or I use in my business. So there's a collection of of things that I've learned from multiple books. Um, and I actually stopped reading books for a while because now I wanted this. I was learning so much, I just needed to now get busy doing the stuff that I learned. So I literally stopped reading because I was more getting in, I wanted to just take action. I have a hard time giving you a name of a book.
That's
There's
fine.
several that I love, but more for like the one thing that I learned, not just like the book.
Okay, that's fair enough. No worries. That's why I asked this question because some people are like, I have 8,000 of them. Lou, I know you're a big sales book guy. What's one that's made an impact on you?
Yeah, I'd say, an older book called Selling the Veto, very, very important top officers. That was a cool book that I read early in my sales career. It was pretty interesting. It was all about getting in front of the decision maker because a lot of people spend a whole lot of time with people that don't move the needle. And the right way to do that and build relationships. One recently that I just read was it's pretty cool. I mean, and this is why I love LinkedIn. I started following somebody that I just liked what they were putting out, and the guy put a book out, and I read his book, and his name's Ansel Lee, and he's in the healthcare consulting space, and just cool stuff. His whole mantra is you got to give to get, and you got to listen more. So it was like, a lot of just cool takeaways, and then I think I've moved from books to more people like podcasts and listening to people on LinkedIn. I mean, there's a lot of cool people. I don't have an attention. I'm not good with sitting down and staying static and just reading a book. I need to be moving. I need to be doing things. So when I click on LinkedIn and there's a 3-minute video from somebody that I love what they're putting out, I'll listen to it, and then I'll go back and do something else. But I love these little short clips that people are throwing out on social media.
Okay. So Here's the final question of the day, people. You know, we've all talked a lot about here, and we all know a lot of people, and you run into different people. And mentorship is very important, and we run into people all the time. And you know, I'm going to start with you, Ed. If you're in the role as a mentor, like as you said, you have 2 sons. But if someone comes up to you who just graduated high school or just graduated college, or someone's in the middle of trading, you know, maybe they went to a trade school or if they're in the transitioning jobs, and you're playing the part of the mentor, and they say, you know, how do I make this work? How do I make business work? What's a lesson I need to know? And what's a lesson you're going to instill someone on how to make it happen, how to make things work?
So that comes up all the time, because one of the things that I do is I have a coaching business. So I actually coach other businesses. I coach other people that have agencies, people that are new college graduates. That was one thing that I did at Verizon. I coached people, and I I try very hard to discourage somebody from trying to open a business on purpose by telling them, I tell them the truth. I don't say, here, do this and you'll be a success. I say, here's what the reality is. This is what it's going to look like to do. Like, this is what you're going to have to go through. It's going to be really hard. You're going to have a lot of trouble. There's going to be struggles. I make sure that I'm brutally honest about what the path looks like. I don't give them, here's a shiny object, you can do it. I'll give them that, if, because that's part of the success, having a support system around you and the equipping and educating in the support system. But it's not right for everybody. So I'll figure out, is this something that is right for you or not, by telling them the brutally honest truth about the potential path that they're taking. And then if that's something that they still want to do, I can probably boil it down to 2 things: commitment and consistency. If you don't commit, then you'll never start. Okay, like a true commitment. And there's to be a really strong reason why, to get through all, like, I want to do this so bad that I'm willing to go through all that hard stuff you just told me. And if you're willing to commit to it, then you'll start. And if you're willing to be consistent through the chaos and the trouble, then you can finish. But if you don't commit, you won't start. If you're not consistent, you'll never finish.
Okay, that's very good advice. How about you, April?
For mentorees, I kind of take it in a way where, when I was an intern, I take it where the gentleman, his name was Corey Disson, he always said, don't just sit there. Like, don't just sit there, ask me questions, learn on the job. And so I always tell students who work with us, who intern with us, ask us the questions, or I ask them, what is it that you want to do? And some of them have no clue, or they have a clue, like, I do want to do video. So if you're going to go to college, this is what you need to do. Don't just sit in the dorm and party with people. Think about interview like professionals who are doing it right now, see where the opportunities at, and be committed, and just ask the questions and keep learning. And then they can always work with us when we have college students. We've had one college student who said, I want to do, film. I said, okay, well, this is what we offer, but we'll still be here for you, and come back. One gentleman, he said, you know what, I'm so glad you opened the door for me. He goes, I'm finishing out in Delaware University, I think Delaware State University, and going to finish in communications or just in production. And just to know that we were kind of in their path, just that little bit helps, and even with other mentoring, other companies as well.
Okay. How about you, Lou?
I think you got to find out what motivates them. I think you can always tie things back to that. And I think they need to be coachable. Like, learn from everybody, regardless of tenure. Whether somebody's been around forever or somebody's just starting, you can always learn from those people, and surround yourself around people you want to be more like. Like, so if they find somebody that's successful in their industry or in their company, hang out with them, ask them, like, what would you do differently if you were able to start over? Can I shadow you? Can I, just be like a sponge at that point. And another thing that, I got to throw in here, because I swear by this. I mean, I love teaching these younger kids to write handwritten thank you notes. I think it's a lost art. I think people don't do it. I actually was giving a presentation to a couple younger kids, and I told the guy, I was like, you need to write handwritten thank you notes. I was like, to everybody, like everybody that's doing business with you, or even the woman at the front desk that got you in to see the decision maker, write her a handwritten thank you note. And he's like, I write thank you notes. And I was like, oh, you do? I was like, and he's like, wait, are you telling me to get like a pen and write it on paper and put it in the mail? And I was like, yeah, everybody writes an email. So, differentiate yourself. I think that's really the key, and differentiate yourself in the right way.
Okay. This has been great. So, Ed, how can people get in touch with you, Ed?
So the easiest way is you can visit our website. It's realiiz.com. So it's Realiiz spelled REALIIZ.com.
Okay. How about you, April?
You can go to our website as well as Creative Content on Demand, but our website is weareccod.com, and we have an email, info@weareccod.com, and our phone number is 856-889-6451.
How about you, Lou?
So WEButation.io, and we do have a new website that's going to be launching here shortly, which I'm excited about. Or you can reach me on my cell phone, 609-694-8633.
Okay, people, you can reach me at the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. A few things coming up. April 6th at Splits Bar and Grill in Laurel Lanes on Route 73 in Maple Shade. Cocktails with Cooper. Last time we had 75 people sponsor this one. We've one sponsor so far, Will Weber. If you want to sponsor, reach out to me. It's a very good rate, and you get a lot of exposure. Also, August 22nd at Soundplex Studios over there in Merchantville, Pennsauken. It's Speakeasy Stand-Up. I'll be hosting Katrina Braxton and Mark Riccadonna. It's a great show. It's $30 in advance. There's wine tasting. It's BYOB. And this place is amazing. Starting in October, start thinking about it. If you're afraid to speak in public, or if you have anxiety when you go into a room, I'll be teaching a 4-week workshop where I'm going to sit there. It's a comedy boot camp to make sure you can overcome your fear of speaking by eventually getting on stage to do comedy. It's going to be great. There's some great people. You can email me again there, the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. My other podcast, coopertalk.net. There's over 1,015 episodes. Over 60 members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I have Penelope Ann Miller coming on next week. I just published a guy from Toad the Wet Sprocket. And don't forget SuiteRecording, SUITE recording.com. Reach out to Joe Gangemi. Joe's awesome. He comes and do a great job. So check Joe out. Check SuiteRecording out. Go to YouTube and check out past episodes of the Coop Tank. I'm Steve Cooper. You all have a great week.